off your English high horse, Devin. You know perfectly well why I'm here.
Well, bully for you. Shall we get on with the matter in hand, then?
Well, first things, Grant is no millionaire. You're asking for way too much money.
Well, Grant didn't seem to think so.
Your parents are your greatest source of support, but what happens when that support overwhelms and suffocates you?
After years of marriage, your parents have separated and you now feel caught in the middle, not wanting to take sides.
Learning to come to terms with family conflicts on today's Am I Nuts? Clinical psychologist Dr. Bernie Katz.
And I'm behavioral therapist Cynthia Richmond. Welcome to Am I Nuts? This is a show for anyone who's ever questioned themselves and wondered why their life isn't what they hoped it would be. It's for people looking for answers to the conflicts and concerns in their lives.
Cynthia and I believe that all of us have asked ourselves, am I nuts? This is the question at the very heart of all of our conflicts.
Right.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bernie.
Conflict with a big C, family.
Family. We all come from one.
We all come from one.
Yes.
They are supposed to be the source of comfort,
Right.
support, nurturance, love, protection.
The Cosby family. We want the Cosby family. We want the all-American family.
That's right. And yet there is not a family on the face of this earth without some degree of conflict.
Yes,
and
right.
sometimes that conflict gets out of control, Cynthia.
Yes, and it's the sensitive people that are so close to us that we're afraid to interact with. Maybe we could handle the conflict outside of the family, but in the family it's very difficult.
Oh, sure. We're so emotionally involved. Our first guest this morning is a young man whose parents have divorced after 30 years of marriage, and the anger and conflict and difficulties are spilling over to all members of the family.
Sounds so difficult. Yeah. And our second guest, Bernie, is a woman who is so conflicted because she's connected to her mother in so many ways. Her mother's now gone. She died 2 years ago, and she hasn't been able to go on with her life. She still feels the effects of mom's influence.
So she still struggles with mom and what happened all through the years.
Yes.
What is that conflict in your family? What is it that's driving you crazy? Mother, father, in-laws, separation, divorce, problems, difficulties, adolescence. Everybody has family difficulties and family conflicts, and very frequently we continue to just go through the same old anger and same old conflict, not knowing how to make it better. We would like to know about those conflicts. We would like to help you make it better. Give us a call, 1-800-988-TALK.
All right. And with that, it's time to introduce our first guest, whose parents did break up last spring after more than 30 years of marriage. Their separation has created an atmosphere of bitterness, and Frank now feels trapped by his loyalty to both of his parents.
Frank wants to help his father overcome his anger so that he can establish a new and healthy family relationship. Let's welcome Frank to Am I Nuts? Morning.
Frank,
Good morning.
Tell us how this is affecting you right now.
Well, after 30 years of marriage, they got a divorce, and it seems that my father's very, very bitter anger is towards my mom for leaving him, and I feel trapped that I cannot take sides and be with one or the other without them causing conflicts.
So what happens when you try to, for example, spend time with mom?
If I try to spend time with mom, that'll get very, very angry, thinking that I'm disrespectful towards him. And it's making me feel like, am I nuts to try and sneak around and be with mom without my dad knowing? Or should I pick my dad's side that he supported us for all these years? And it's very hard because they both did an excellent job with us.
So the feelings of uncertainty, feelings of guilt, feelings of being disloyal.
Yes.
And are those, in effect, inflicted on you by the parents?
Yes, they are.
What happens? Can you tell us what happens with your mom and dad right now?
Right now, my dad is having a hard time getting over that my mom had left him after all these years. And it's over that he was very controlling over her life. And she felt it was time that she needed to get out and be on her own. He feels that her new boyfriend is taking advantage of her, he's not treating her properly, and he has no way of knowing this because he's never met this person. And what he does with the family, us children, is that he tries to make us feel more secure with him and try to think of her that she had left us when that's not the case.
So he's sort of trying to win your loyalty.
Exactly.
So he tells these things to you and to your siblings?
Yes.
How many other children are there?
I'm a family of 5.
So your father is really kind of saying a lot of these negative, angry things about your mother to all of the children?
Exactly. He's very obsessed that she had left, and I've tried to talk to him about it, that he needs to get on with his life and just let her go and live her life. And if he would do that, he would have no problems, but he's having a hard time coping with this problem.
Now, what's Mom doing these days?
Mom, she works, and she's trying to get on with her life after all these years. She felt that she was trapped in a relationship, that she had no control over her own self, over her money. And now that she's out on her own, my father has a problem dealing with that. He has to take care of the two youngest children after that she had left, but she had done this for the first 30 years, so he's just getting a taste of this.
So there's 2 kids left at home with your dad?
Yes.
How old are they?
18 and 16.
These are your siblings?
Yes, they're my
Okay.
younger brother and sister.
Okay.
Now, how often does your father give these angry tirades to his children?
Well, with me, every time I talk to him, it'll be like, how you doing? And he'll get on with the conversation, and then all of a sudden he'll go right to the subject like, well, did you talk to your mother? Is she talking to your children? Because I'm married, I have my own family. And the hardest thing is that I live right next door to my dad.
Oh.
And it's like, as soon as he comes home, he wants to know, did I see her? And it's hard. I don't want to lie to him. I want to keep an open relationship to him because he's very honest with us. But his anger towards her, I cannot get through to him.
So are you saying that he'll come home and say, so Frank, did you see your mother today? I mean, is it a constant...
Right, he'll want to know what she's doing and whatever. Or if I go see him, he'll say, well, I saw your mother, and she goes and tries to talk to the children that are up there, and he just twists the whole story around. You can never get the right story from what's going on. And the way that I look at it is I like my mom to live her life, let him live his life. If he could just do that, I think he would have the problem solved, but he can't.
So you hear this every day?
Every time I'm in contact with him, yes.
I mean, would you say, is that every day?
Yes, it would be every day.
Yeah, he lives right next door.
Yes, he does.
Now, is his anger affecting your children as well?
No, my children are still too young to understand what's going on, but I don't want them to feel this anger or to know what was going on, because my parents did take very good care of us.
Tell us about that, since you brought it up. What was family life like with your parents?
Well, my father was very, very controlling. He always had the bills taken care of. He worked very hard. I mean, you couldn't say anything bad. I can't say anything bad about either one of them. He worked 2, 3 jobs sometimes. He's never home. He's always trying to put food on our table or take care of us.
Right.
And I guess his obsessiveness and his control had my mom trapped for all those years, but I never realized that.
That she felt trapped?
Did he control you in any way?
When I was growing up, yes, he did. But when I was growing up and I was a teenager, and you go through that phase, you feel that he's doing this to be spiteful. But he always had the best intentions for us, to try to keep us out of trouble. When I was 17, I went right into the service because I couldn't deal with him.
Okay.
Couldn't deal with it. In other words, would he tell you what to do?
Oh, exactly.
And what else? Any,
He wanted the best for us, but if I had like an idea, he would like shoot my self-esteem down. And he still does it, the negative attitudes. And I'm a very positive person. I try to think of, set a goal and then try to get there. But in life, you can't, sometimes you just can't do this.
Frank, can you give us an example of how Dad would shoot your self-esteem down, an idea that you might have had or something like that?
Exactly.
Okay.
When I went into service, I became a military policeman. And I'm trained in this type of conflict between parents and things, but it's harder when it's in your own family to discuss this, because he doesn't want to listen. And when I came out of the service, I also wanted to be a disc jockey. And I got accepted to state police, and I turned it down to be a disc jockey. That made him furious.
Really? It wasn't a real job being a disc
Right,
jockey.
he was trying to pick my profession for me.
Right.
But now, after all the years that I've been growing up and seeing that that it wasn't the way I should have stayed there, I'm back in the field now, and I'm happy with my life.
so he could, in effect, find the negative part of everything.
Oh, everything, always
You know.
negative, yes.
And the shooting down of self-esteem really occurred not necessarily by his saying you're a bad guy, but the implication is you don't know how to make the right choices.
Exactly.
I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to show me the way. Now, does he have that with all of the children? Does
Yes,
he
he
do that
does.
with everybody?
Yeah, he has it with everybody.
And with Mom as well?
He tries to do it in the best of our interests, but it gets to be a point that he's obsessed sometimes, and you can't get through to him.
Now, did you ever see your parents argue?
Yes.
And what would they argue about?
Money that my mom would want to spend or buy things, and he would say there was no room in the budget for it. He was always constantly paying bills and always watching where the dollar went.
So he earned the money and he wanted to control where it was spent.
Or even if we brought in money, he wanted to control the money.
Oh, okay.
He's very good at that. I mean, budgeting and that type of thing. But when he budgets your money, it's like you have no control over it. It's
Right.
like you're working, you turn over your money, and you don't see it. He takes care of bills.
Right.
But
Look, he's very responsible,
Yes,
and
he's very responsible.
as you point out, his intentions for the family are good.
Yes.
But all through the years, up through and including now, his intentions are producing conflict, dissatisfaction. Unfortunately, it was something that your mother ultimately had to get away from after 30 years of marriage, and you had to get away from on your 17th birthday.
Right.
So he produces the feeling like, wow, I know he's doing it for my own good and well-being,
Right.
but I can't stand it because I can't be myself.
right.
How do you, when you try to talk to your dad now, what do you say? How do you try to approach him? Have you told him to try to let it go?
I keep telling him the same thing over and over, that he needs her, let her live her life. Forget about her. She's left. She's not coming back. He has to face the reality, but he will not listen. He does not want to know. Even if she left her boyfriend, she's still not going to come back to him. He just needs to go on with his life. He's very self-sufficient in himself. I mean, he can do lots of things with his time that can get his mind off of this, but he just won't.
And he doesn't hear one word
Not one
that
word.
you're saying.
Exactly.
Emma-
Not one.
Must be exceptionally frustrating to you because you are a police officer and you're used to dealing with domestic squabbles with other people.
Right.
Used to
that you
being heard.
Can't get through
Right.
to your dad.
Right. I could go in and tell him, well, you should do this and seek therapy or get some counseling.
Frank, we got to take a quick break. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when we come back, we want to hear the rest of your story and offer you some help. And when we
absolutely.
return, we want to hear about your relationships with your family. Are they strained? Are there things that you wish you could say to your family and you just can't? We want to help you. Give us a call right now. It's 1-800-988-TALK.
I'm Glenn Campbell. Stay tuned to America's Talking, because you never know who Bill Rafferty is going to be talking to. He talks so much he has to hire somebody to call his dog.
I'm Bill McCuddy, and I'm the luckiest guy I know because every day I get to meet musicians, comics, singers, actors.
That's correct. I love your show.
So come on, everybody. Break a leg with me, Bill McCuddy, only on America's Talking.
Have a heart. It's about life. But now we have 5 bridesmaids without any dresses.
And hope. I can be independent, I can do it on my own, and by gosh, I'm gonna do it on my own.
Have a heart. Weekdays on America's Talking. Join the conversation.
Straightforward with Roger Ailes.
You have that look about you.
When I was born, I decided to look like this.
Beneath the surface.
Mr. Mayor, are you going to run again?
The people threw me out, and now the people must be punished.
Beyond the hype.
What is the psychology of a good quarterback?
It's easy to blame the quarterback because he's the guy that sticks out.
And to the point.
Do you see yourself the way casting directors see you?
You asked the best question.
Roger Ailes on Straightforward. Weeknights only on America's Talking.
We're the scrubbing bubble in the new Trigger sprayer. Yeah, he's our new Trigger sprayer.
There's only one trigger that gives you scrubbing bubbles. Dow's new Trigger Sprayer. It has us foaming and clinging instead of running like other triggers, easily removing dirt and soap scum. Dow Bathroom Cleaner's new Trigger Sprayer, the only trigger with scrubbing bubbles.
We work hard so you don't have to.
I have a lot of spare time on my hands lately. I can thank Burger King for that. Thank you, Burger King. No problem. They've got these kids club meals. A flame broiled hamburger, fries, and a drink, all for $1.99. And every meal comes with a great kids club toy. They keep my kids busy for hours. Room decorating kits, color change cups, cool stuff like that. They've been inside with those toys all day now. I love those toys.
Burger King. Get your burger's worth.
I wish my son could live a full, healthy life where he felt rewarded and was always learning.
Encyclopedia Britannica presents a parent's wish list.
I think it's every parent's dream maybe to have a doctor in the family.
Every parent has a wish list for their child, and with the help of the new Encyclopedia Britannica, many of those wishes can come true. Encyclopedia Britannica is the finest home learning program in the world. A 32-volume family reference library that will give your child an important advantage all through the school years. To get more information on the new Encyclopedia Britannica, call for this free color booklet now. And just for previewing Encyclopedia Britannica in your home, you'll get this handsome 3-volume desk reference set as a free gift.
Our wishes are that he just lives up to the potential that he has.
Now you can use your home computer to get even more from Britannica. Call now for your free booklet and details about the new Britannica CD.
Call 1-800-952-2626.
Welcome back. We're discussing family and how relationships within a family can become conflicted. We've been talking to Frank, whose parents recently separated after more than 30 years of marriage, and now Frank really feels torn between both mom and dad.
Frank, how has this conflict with your father and conflict that you saw with your parents in the way your father was controlling of everybody, how does this affect your marriage?
Well, at first, I was getting separated from my wife because I was kind of like following the same pattern as he was. Except for the fact that I wasn't paying attention to my wife or with the child taking care of my basic need.
So you actually, I'm sorry to interrupt you, you actually became separated from your wife at one point in your own marriage? Okay.
And he had told me at the time when I was having trouble with it that the family's the most important thing. I have an obligation to take care of this child, and that my friends and everything that I've been seeing, that's all in the past, and I have to focus on my wife.
So Dad had plenty of answers.
Oh, whenever we were going through a divorce, the same thing with my brother, he had all the answers for us.
Now, when your wife and you were having difficulty, did she in effect say to you, you're too controlling?
She told me that, yes, I had a problem, that she was very unhappy with the situation, and she had left.
And what did she want?
She wanted me to spend more time with her instead of my friends. She wanted me to be more with her and more open, and I wasn't giving, I was kind of like shutting her off.
Yeah. Now, in going back to the current issue for just for a second, do you speak to your mother?
Yes, I do.
Does she have the same kind of anger that your father does?
Not at all. Not at all.
And so how, does she want to be with the kids and the family and so on?
She's trying to, but now she's on her own, and she's finding that she has to pay her bills, and she's finding that she has to budget, and all that thing. She's trying.
Does she try to come visit the two youngsters who are still living with your dad?
Yes, she does, and that's where the conflict starts. Because now she comes back to the house, and my father sees her, he talks to her, and then the anger starts all over again.
Boy, that's a tough situation.
So he's still trying to use those controlling methods of his to get her back.
Right, and it's not. She's not going to come back.
Does he believe that she'll come back? Is he still holding on to hope there?
He's kind of like hoping, but it's never going to happen. When I talk to my mom, it will never happen.
Okay.
Yeah. See, unfortunately, your father is really stuck in a kind of right and wrong situation. Your father believes that he's always right, and then everybody else is wrong. Things are black or white, right or wrong. You do it this way, not that way. And that's the dilemma that he poses for everybody in the family.
Right. And when we try to help him, even my brother is a policeman, you can't get through to him.
Now, you can't, I want to tell you why you can't get through to him. You just described your wife as, in effect, saying, look, you can be controlling too. You are your father's son. You have great love and admiration for him. There's also a part of you that sees the world in terms of black and white. Now, listen to what you're saying to this guy. Now, look, Dad, it's over. Forget about it. Drop it. Let it go. What you, in effect, are saying to him is, look, Dad, I'm right in my advice, therefore you're wrong. And you're saying this to a guy who can't be wrong.
Right.
So it's not going to be effective that way, that's for certain.
It is absolutely not going to be effective.
Yeah.
Your father needs something from you that, unfortunately, he was never able to give, and that is a sense of validation. This is what you're feeling, Dad. You have a right to be angry. And you have to use these words with him. You've got a right to be angry, a right to be upset. You've worked your entire life for the support of the family, and now what's happening is your wife has left you, and you're feeling that you have been wronged and hurt and violated. And the only way that you can move on or restore yourself is to get her back. You can't do it. You want it, it would be good, but it's not going to happen. But you're not wrong. Your father has to hear he's not wrong for what he wants.
I'm just concerned, I think Bernie's absolutely right with every single word. I'm concerned about you and your family and your own children. I mean, you have a right to your own life, and you shouldn't have to have your family life poisoned, really, by your father's anger and bitterness every single day. And I'm wondering if, in addition to saying this to your father, if you can say, Dad, I can't be a party to this anymore. If you need to talk to someone, you're going to have to find someone else to talk to, but I need to protect my family time, and this is influencing us in a negative way. Do you think you could say that to him?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Your father adores his children and his grandchildren.
Yes.
And that's part of where your appeal has to be there too. Dad, we know you're hurting and we know you're suffering, but think about the relationships you want with your children and your grandchildren. They want you and they need you. The anger and the bitterness is driving everybody away.
Good.
You're right in what you want, but the impact isn't good.
And he's a man who values family. As you said earlier, he enforced it to you.
Yes.
So if he realizes that it's tearing the family apart, perhaps
That's right.
that's the angle to approach him with.
Absolutely. And I want to say something else. You have the capacity to treat your children the way your father treated you.
Yes.
Now, you have got to be very careful. The advice that I'm giving to you in terms of how to communicate with your father, I also want you to think of it in terms of communicating with your children. You have to take them into account, their wishes, their needs. Of course, everybody sitting up here right now is a parent. We are also children. When we raise our children, we can be a little bit too much like the negative parts of our own parents. Recognize who they are and what they need.
So you have all the wonderful training, you use it in your job, apply it to your own family as well. Listen, you're probably doing this. We're probably not telling you anything you don't know with your own kids. Listen to their feelings, validate them, and then tell them when you need to, but I'm your dad and this is the way it's going to be, if you need to do that.
Remember, validate your father's feelings. You understand what he's going through, but he has to use you, the other siblings, and the grandchildren to get through this. Good luck. It's not easy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Frank. Well, we'll be right back in a moment with your calls, so give us a call right now. We want to help you with your family conflicts.
We're here at Westside Taekwondo.
New is the key to conversation on AT. At 11, discover new ways to stay healthy on Alive and Wellness. Then it's new, it's novel, it's so good it takes 2 hours. America's Talking AM at noon. Then at 2, it's Break a Leg with Bill McCuddy.
Need advice? Will my kids always come first? What is it with these sensitive new age guys? Ask EG. Who's EG? I have been writing about this stuff for 20 years. If you have a problem, ask EG. Weekdays on America's Talking.
America's Talking about
health care. Beware of managed care.
A lot of people just avoid going to doctors.
People are trying very hard to solve their own health care issues.
The system needs to be more proactive.
Insurance is so high, it's for retired, it's very hard.
We should be able to choose. I want to talk about it.
America's Talking.
At the Discovery Channel, we go to extraordinary lengths to tell extraordinary stories. So if we see it, you see it. The Discovery Channel. Explore your world.
Whew! I finally made the offensive line.
He's made the offensive line all right.
And I never miss practice.
Never missed one practice.
Presenting Ultra Gain.
If things work out, I'll make first string.
Things will work out.
Gain's got the power to get tough laundry so thoroughly clean, it smells like it was dried in the sunshine.
Now don't get any dirt on my nice clean uniform.
No dirt on the uniform.
Ultra Gain cleans and freshens like sunshine.
All aluminum cans are recyclable, and almost 2/3 of them are being recycled. All across the country, groups of people are joining together to participate in the Great Aluminum Can Roundup. To find out how your group can participate, call toll-free for a Great Aluminum Can Roundup starter kit.
You better.
You asked for more, and now it's here. Radical and Quality bring you North America's #1 dance music collection. Dance Mix USA Volume 2, The Beat Continues. More of what you're looking for. Over 70 minutes of non-stop body-shaking music. Call now through this special TV offer. Get Dance Mix USA Volume 2 on cassette, $14.99, CD, $19.99. This is one awesome dance music collection. Use your credit card and call right now, and we'll send you a bonus cassette with more bass-kicking beats. If you like to dance, you'll love this collection.
Call 1-800-641-1919. Use your credit card right now and we'll send you a bonus cassette. Call now, 1-800-641-1919.
Welcome back to Am I Nuts? Let's go to the phones and say good morning to Melaine from Virginia. Hi, Melaine. Are you there?
I'm 19 years old, and I'm having problems with my parents because they just make me they're making everybody in my family very bitter.
Okay.
How are they doing it, Melaine?
Well, I mean, they constantly argue and constantly fight, and all of us get into the middle of it. There's 6 people in my family, and all of us just get into the middle of it, and we just try to stay away, but they somehow they start asking us questions like,
they get you
that's fair? And
oh. So they're getting you involved in their argument. They're arguing in front of all of you.
Yes, and it's just not fair to us.
No, it isn't.
We don't know how to stop it.
Okay.
Okay. One of the ways in which you stop it, Melaine, is when things are calm, you talk to each one individually, and I would suggest all of the children do this, and you say, look, sooner or later, you and Mom, you and Dad are going to get into the same old argument again. Understand that when it happens, we're going into our room and closing the door. You guys have a problem. You guys have to solve it. Get professional help. Calm yourselves down. It is not right for us to be involved. Please don't inflict it. Consider the door a boundary. Do that. In a good mood, they'll say yes, and keep your fingers crossed that they can do it when the next time they fight.
Exactly that, Melaine. Make a family pact, and if it's a hard thing for you to do because they really try to pull you in and you feel like you're obligated or responsible, maybe you can get a family friend or a minister, a priest, a rabbi, someone else perhaps involved that can help referee them, or that you can explain the situation to give you a little support, or sort of an authoritative figure who says the kids cannot be involved in this next argument. You're right when you said it's not fair to you, and it's just going to be a detriment to everyone in the family. Let them resolve it themselves. And thanks so much for calling.
Resolve it themselves. Hi, we have Myrna from Tennessee. Good morning. How can we help you? Myrna, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Good. How can we help you?
Well, I'll tell you what, I've got a situation here where my dad's been seeing a young lady for 11 years. My mother's 80 years old. My father's 80 years old. He brings her to the home. He brings her in front of my mother, and it's devastating to my mom. My mom cries all the time.
Oh, sure.
So Mom and Dad are still married?
My mom and Dad are still married. There's a lot of monetary things involved. There are home and cars and antique cars and such things as that.
Dear.
And the question of a divorce is out. My father just won't hear to it. I have fought with him over and over and over about this thing.
And what does he say? What is his defense of his behavior?
His defense of his behavior is he says he doesn't care, that he's not going to change. This is the way he is, and this is the way he's going to stay. He said without this young lady, he wouldn't have a life. That she's what keeps him young. She's what keeps him going.
Okay.
And my dad has always brought his children up to believe in discretion, to be discreet. If we do something wrong, to at least be discreet.
He's certainly not using it, is he, Myrna?
He's certainly not, and this is what we go round and round about all the time.
Myrna, do you have a relationship with the young lady at all?
Not at all.
Woman? Oh.
No.
Because I was thinking if you could possibly have a conversation with her and appeal to her perhaps to not come around when Mom's there. Apparently the relationship's not going to end, but what's troubling to your mother is having it in her face, right?
Well, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, now, I've had discussions with the young lady already. They weren't pleasant. I mean, it's come to the point where I've grabbed her up and rolled her around on the ground a few times.
Oh.
Which is, I don't want to get into that.
She brings out the worst in you, Myrna. You're worried about your mom's feelings.
That's exactly right, because my mother's not well, and it just absolutely tears her up. Now, I live 530 miles away from my family. We have a 2-year-old automobile, and I've got 89,000 miles on it.
You're going back and forth quite a bit.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. The woman doesn't care. I believe she's strictly in it for monetary gain.
That's not out, Myrna. Let me interrupt you. I think Bernie has something for you you'd like to share with
Myrna, your father is a very selfish guy. The woman is a very selfish woman, and they're bound to do what they want to do no matter what. All of your interventions notwithstanding. The only thing I can suggest is that your mother, either by herself or perhaps through you by telephone, can take interventions in which when he comes into the house with her, call 911, ask the police to come over, try to get an order of protection in the courts against him bringing her into the house. Somebody has to make a very specific stand. Arguing, reasoning is not working. Bring in an external authority and see if that works. He's unfortunately a very cruel guy with feelings for nobody but himself. And maybe he was a good dad, but he is one misery of a husband. I'm sorry to tell you that, Myrna.
There's one other option, Myrna, and that is, you know, even though divorce is out of the question, Mom could insist on having her own place and Dad would have to pay for it. I mean, they've been married forever, so if she wants to remove herself from the situation, if that would make her feel better, that's a possibility as well. I like Bernie's idea about going to an outside source for some help, and I'm sorry you're going through this. It sounds very, very tough. Well, Bernie, it's time now to check in with Prodigy. If you'd like to join us on Prodigy, you can jump to the America's Talking bulletin board and post a note on the Am I Nuts topic. We look forward to reading your note. Now let's say hello to Tony, our Prodigy Pro, and see what he has for us this morning. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Good morning, Bernie. Good morning, Cynthia. I have a note today from Diane Starosalik. She wrote in on the Am I Nuts topic of the America's Talking bulletin board. It reads as follows. Does anyone else have a 12-year-old daughter who is moody, who demands attention, and is smart-mouthed? Help. I don't think I can take it anymore. That note signed Diane, and Diane got a response from a T. Bridenstine, and her note reads, join the club. Mine is 11. I don't know what to do. I do know that I have to be patient and ignore the smart mouth. It's so hard sometimes. Someone, please tell me that this is a phase and it will get better. Signed, T.
It's a phase, and it will get better.
But I don't think you have to ignore the smart mouth. I think that's one of the areas. Yes, teenagers and preteens go through this rebellion, but you know what? No parent deserves to be back-mouthed to or smart-mouthed to. I think you have to say to the child, I will listen to you when you speak to me appropriately, and other than that, my ears are closed.
To everyone who has an 11 or 12-year-old daughter who's moody, that is normal. Their body is going through changes. Their hormones are raging. They feel ups and downs all the time. They're becoming extremely overly sensitive. That's normal. Like it or not. Number two, of course they're smart-mouthed, because their view of their parents at that age is that you know nothing. You were put on this earth to make their life miserable. You are to be removed as quickly as possible. All you have to do is just say as calmly as you can, I know you're upset, don't talk to me that way, and then walk away. Never confront the child. Don't get into arguments. You will lose. They will be rambunctious. They will spend time on the phone. They will want their friends more than anything else in the entire world. You have to use your own patience and guidance. The child, as rambunctious as they are, still wants your love and approval. Be there in a steady state and you'll get it. Good luck. Hi, we have Mario from Montana. Good morning, Mario. How can we help you?
Good morning, Bernie. Good morning, Cynthia. We love your show here in Billings.
Thank you very much.
What I'm dealing with right now, we've got a 4-year-old, and the grandmother is kind of a codependent enabler. Every time the kid goes over there, she comes home, she whines a lot, she demands things, she won't listen. And we know it's directly related to the way the grandmother treats her. What do we do about it? How do we approach the grandmother without starting World War 15?
Okay.
You want to go first?
I'll go first.
We both have stuff to say to you, Mario. Okay.
Mario, number one is if you approach the grandmother, what's going to happen is grandma is going to say nice things and, oh, I'm going to try and I'm going to try and I'm going to try, and the next time the same thing is going to happen. What you have to do is make sure that your 4-year-old understands that things are different at home than at grandma's. She can stay up late at grandma's. She can't stay up at home. She can eat excessively at grandma's. She can't eat excessively at home. Children can learn that. They know grandma spoils them, and they know they're going to get the correct treatment at home. That's the way to handle it, Mario.
Mario, Bernie said almost the exact same thing I was going to say. We agree entirely. A 4-year-old is capable of understanding. There's different rules at different places. There may even be prejudice someplace and not at home. Whatever the differences are, the minute she steps back into your home, these are mommy and daddy's rules that will not be tolerated. We don't approve of whining. Do exactly what we were saying to the Prodigy user. If she whines to you, just say, when you're willing to talk to me normally, then daddy will answer you, period, and let her get back into her normal voice. She should be quicker and quicker with that adjustment, and you can't change grandma at all, so I wouldn't even try with that one. And thank you for contacting
Mario.
us.
Family conflicts, coast to coast, border to border. We're going to take a short break. When we return, we'll meet a woman who cannot break free of her mother's influence. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We're the Scrubbing Mama in the new Trigger Sprayer. Yeah, he's our new Trigger Sprayer.
There's
There's only one trigger that gives you scrubbing bubbles. Dow's new Trigger Sprayer. It has us foaming and clinging instead of running like other triggers, easily removing dirt and soap scum. Dow Bathroom Cleaner's new Trigger Sprayer, the only trigger with scrubbing bubbles.
We work hard so you don't have to.
The National Ski Patrol just approved a cold and cough medicine for patrollers on duty. Sudafed Cold and Cough. Approved because of the way it clears up nasal and chest congestion. Approved because it suppresses coughs and relieves body aches. And most importantly, approved because Sudafed Cold and Cough gives you all this relief with no drowsy side effects. Sudafed Cold and Cough. Strong medicine. No drowsiness. Clears you up without slowing you down.
My 6-month-old had a red irritated diaper rash.
Now your baby can get relief from diaper rash with Baby Gold Bond medicated powder.
I bought Baby Gold Bond powder and I applied it to the rash, and it worked. It helped clear the rash.
Baby Gold Bond combines zinc oxide with the finest talcum powder to relieve baby's red irritated skin and protect it against diaper rash with medication ordinary baby powders don't have.
I like Baby Gold Bond because it's medicated. It's great. I use it all the time.
Try Baby Gold Bond medicated powder.
The National Business Employment Weekly, the only publication that updates you weekly on top jobs available regionally and nationwide. All kinds of jobs, professional, managerial, technical, and you'll learn how to land one of those jobs. Get 8 job-packed issues for just $35. Also get absolutely free the Job Search Guide.
Call 800-952-2626. That's 800-952-2626.
The National Business Employment Weekly. If you're not looking here, you're hardly looking.
Welcome back to Am I Nuts? It's time to introduce our next guest who says that her mother still has a powerful hold on her life, even though her mother passed away 2 years ago. Gladys says her mother was overprotective and did absolutely everything for her. As a result, she feels she has a hard time accomplishing things for herself because of the way she was overindulged by her mom.
Gladys believes she could have done so much more with her life if it weren't for her mother. She wants to put her mother's influence behind her and get on with her life. Let's welcome Gladys to Am I Nuts. Good morning.
Hi, Gladys.
Hi, Cynthia.
Nice to have you here.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Thank you. Tell us what's going on.
What's going on now?
Yeah.
My mother passed away 2 years ago, but it's like she's still there, and I hope she's still there because my mother was somebody who did everything for me. I mean, everything for me.
She's really part of you.
Well, we were like merged. And like just before I was in the green room, I misplaced my glasses. 2 minutes they were gone, and I didn't even get up and look for them, hoping that somebody would come in and say, Gladys, here's your glasses. So I make everyone my mother.
I see.
And I guess it really happened. I was an only child. I'm sorry.
Before you hear about that, what has the effect of her death been on you? What kinds of feelings does it produce?
God, I was very devastated. Even though I'm angry at her because I feel she did this number on me, after she died, I mourned, and then I felt that I finally was able to separate a little bit, just a little bit, to become a little bit more independent, because I had to be.
Right.
So in a sense, her death affected me in a positive way to grow a little bit more.
How did you become more independent? What did you do?
Well, I'm trying to be a comedian, and I could never really, I'd get on the stage and I would never do any of the work. And I would just, at the time, be a hostess. But 2 years ago, I decided to try to write my act, and write an act and try to perform it.
Okay.
Which was a very big step
It was
for
a
me.
big goal.
Well, because it's exposing myself and doing the work. And I would find that I learned I couldn't do the work. I'd never rehearse. I didn't want to be bothered. I just wanted somebody to do it for me. And so it's been, but little by little, I struggle with it and trying to practice. But I don't want to do it. I want magic. I want someone to just say, it's going to happen.
So in your effort to find independence and autonomy, did you accomplish that one goal? Were you able to follow through and write it and actually perform it?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
I did, yes.
Okay.
So there are 2 parts of you. There's one part that says, I want to do the work, I want to be my own person, I want to differentiate and become an individual. But another part says, no, I want someone to come in and say, here are the glasses.
Right, absolutely. I want someone to, I just was looking, yesterday I had I fell in the street about a week ago.
And it wasn't killing me, and I was too lazy. I didn't want to be bothered to go to the doctor. So I got up the other day, and my hand was killing me. You know, my mother would have taken care of everything. She would have made sure and called me. She would have taken care of my hands, soaked it, but no mother. Nobody did it. Yesterday, I went to have an x-ray of my hands, put the hands down, and I just, in the studio, I looked, my ring is gone. I never bothered. Right, because my mother would have said, do you have your jewelry? Do you have your clothes? Put your sweater on.
So throughout your entire life, this is the way she was. How far back does that go?
Well, you know, when I say this, people can't believe it, but because I was an only child, and she was very overprotected, so overprotected that I slept in a crib till I was 9.
Till you were 9. In a crib till you were 9 and a half.
With my mother.
How could the two of you fit in
We
a crib?
were very small.
You were very small.
Mom actually slept in the crib beside you?
Yes, I was very, very tiny my whole life, and she was shorter than me, like little shorter than Dr. Ruth, and I was very tiny. Guess I had a big crib, but I do remember sleeping in the crib, and she wouldn't get me a bed.
But how did it feel to be in the crib with her?
Oh, great. I would love it. I'd still, I mean, it felt
You
warm
wanted to sleep with Mom.
and, yeah, cozy, like I was in the womb. I mean, I loved it. I did.
But did it also feel that there wasn't enough room here? Was it suffocating? Was it
Smothering?
No.
I mean,
it might have been, but at the time I liked it. But when I started to get, I remember when I was 9 years old, I wanted a bed. Not because I was embarrassed, you know, and I finally did get a bed.
Well, at 9,
to say it's about time would be an understatement.
The fear of rolling out at 9 is probably not significant. We have to take a quick break. When we return, we're going to continue our conversation with Gladys, and we're going to offer her some advice, so stay with us.
This program is sponsored by Sprint. Be there now with a local long-distance and cellular provider.
Now there's a talk show dedicated to new healing theories. I'm Carol Martin. Together we'll learn some fascinating alternatives to traditional medicine. Join me for Alive and Wellness. Every day on America's Talking. Join the conversation.
Have your first cup of coffee with us, Steve Doocy
and Kay Kim. Now, we're not like those other morning shows.
No, we won't read the news like stodgy newscasters.
So pull up a chair and find out what America's really talking about. Join the conversation every morning on America's Talking.
What is bugging you? Does traffic bug you? How about smoking? What about lines? Confusing signs? People in the express lane with too many items? Junk mail. And potholes. Are you bugged by life's little tortures? I'm Brian O'Connor, and I want you to get it off your chest on Bugged, weeknights on America's Talking. Oh, and join the conversation. Quiet! People who say quiet too loud.
Good morning, class. Today, an amazing interactive Sprint technology called distance learning. You know what that means? It means, I saw that, Craig Allen. Thank you. Now a teacher miles away can be there teaching astronomy, aeronautics, Russian, even creative writing, Susan. So, any questions?
Is Sprint using asynchronous transfer mode or direct DS3?
Class dismissed.
Mercy Medical Airlift just approved a sinus headache medicine for flight crews on duty, Sudafed Sinus. Approved because of the way Sudafed Sinus clears up nasal congestion. Approved because of the way it relieves sinus pressure and headache pain. And most importantly, approved because Sudafed Sinus gives you all this relief with no drowsy side effects. Sudafed Sinus. Strong medicine, no drowsiness. Clears you up without slowing you down.
With so many different kinds of exercise equipment, why do over 3 million people choose Nordic Trek? Because it delivers the results others can't match.
The Nordic Trek cross-country ski machine burns more calories than other exercisers, up to 1,100 per hour.
After only 12 weeks of training, the Nordic Trek produced a decrease in body fat.
The Nordic Trek lowers blood pressure up to 12% in just 12 weeks without medication.
In a different study, cholesterol levels were lowered substantially.
Comparative test, Nordic Trek produced a 51% more efficient cardiovascular
Nordic Trek gives more of a workout in less time and is easier on the body.
Experts agree, Nordic Trek is the best aerobic exercise around.
Only Nordic Track can sing that, because only Nordic Track has the research to prove it.
If you're going to invest your time and money in an exerciser, invest in the best, Nordic Track. 2 major consumer publications rate 4 Nordic Track models the best. Do your own research. Start by calling for our free video and brochure.
Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation with Gladys, who feels her mother still has a powerful hold on her, even though her mother passed away 2 years ago.
Gladys, you were telling us before that your mother and you slept in a crib till you were 9½. Were there other ways that she tried to keep you an infant?
A million. Everything.
A million. Tell us.
All right. Well, okay. The other thing is, oh, this is so awful. But when I was growing up, my mother had the thing with the bathroom. First of all, I had to keep the bathroom door open for fear that something would happen to me, like I'd fall down the toilet. And then she would yell, "Don't flush!" You know, and she would come rushing in, you know, and look in the toilet. And also, excuse me, never should say this, but I never even wiped myself. She did it till I was 16.
Till you were 16?
Till I was 16. And it was like, and then I had no energy to do it myself. I had who wanted to do anything? I would sit there, read my novels, and she would do everything and check everything out. And I resented it. It was saying, oh, I don't want you to do this, but yet I did, because if somebody does, she did everything, so I felt like I didn't want to move.
Gladys, I have to ask you a question. I'm sorry, Bernie. You had girlfriends, and you knew that their mothers didn't do this, right? I mean, did you, when you compared, how did that feel?
Well, I never discussed it, but in a certain sense, I felt like, it felt like great. I mean, I sort of liked it. Yeah,
so you were
I sort of
you felt
liked it.
pampered?
I was pampered, and I thought, well, if you don't have to move, it's great, and it's all pleasure. And then, you know, I made my mother scratch my back for hours. I loved to have my back scratched. I mean, to me, just to sit there and be fed. And then, of course, up until...
fed?
Then she would, you know, then getting back to the bathroom things, it's like... I mean, recently I looked in the toilet and there was blood, and I never look. And I went to the doctor and he said, "Have you ever looked in the toilet before?" I said, "I never look in the toilet," you know.
So she did everything. What did she do with food?
Well, up until I was going to college, and I would come home and she would feed me. I asked her, you know, she said, you never eat right, you won't eat your vegetables. I felt like I was 4. And she would feed me as I would be reading the paper.
You mean literally she would put the food in your mouth with a...
Yes.
And till how old?
24.
Till 24?
That's right. And then when I started to go out on real dates, even though I dated a lot, my mother always wanted me to date, and I dated a lot of men, thousands. I did.
Really?
So yes. But anyway, when I moved into New York and I went out with this guy, he was like shocked because I didn't know how to use a knife and fork. It would slip out of my hands.
You know, one of the things that there has to be a downside to this. Were you angry? Did you argue with her?
Did you always
please her?
No, I was mean. I was mean to her because I didn't know why. She always said, "Why are you so mean to me? I do everything for you." But I didn't understand. But I felt suffocated, as you said before when you asked. Yes, I felt suffocated, and I was very angry at her, so I would be fresh. You know, I had a big mouth, you know, and I would yell at her and be demanding all the time. But I didn't understand it until, excuse me, I went into therapy. But I realized that I just wanted to be a baby. I wanted to be indulged, and I also wanted to be like a goddess. I was a princess.
Goddess, were you everything your mother wanted you to be?
Except tall.
Tall.
Yeah,
she wanted you to be taller. The thing you had no control over.
I had no control, and I was everything, except she had this thing with height. She was very small, so I could have been perfect if I was just taller. So she took me for growing injections, and she would look at
growing injections?
Yes.
Wow. So she really needed to make you into what she needed.
Right.
She really, in effect, by infantilizing you, made sure you would be tied to her apron strings forever.
Forever. And as a result, and, you know, as a result, when I got married, I found myself calling out for my husband. Instead of calling him by his name, I would call Mommy.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I was looking to make...
That'll do wonders for a husband's ego.
Not to mention his
but he called me Mommy, too. See?
Oh, he did? Oh,
well, he was looking for a mother, too, as I was. So, but my mother, yeah, it was like very hard. But the one thing I got from my mother was a performer, and on the Yiddish stage. And so I would perform with her when I was 3 years old, sing and dance. And then when I tried to break away, and I wanted to go to the high school performing arts, she said, you can't do it. It's too hard for you, and the only way you could perform, you do better when you're with your mother. And I went to performing arts, no mother, collapsed, came home and couldn't do it. Couldn't perform, frightened.
Be frightened of being different from your mother, frightened of not giving her what she needed, frightened of not being her alter ego, frightened of not being the dependent child. The sequence is, mother takes care of me like I'm an infant, doesn't let me grow up. I feel anger, I feel resentment, but I have no control over it, and so I literally have to give her what she needs. But if I give her what she needs and I become who she wants me to be, I lose myself.
Right.
I am behind the rock and a hard place.
Yes. And it's very hard not to go against your mother. I mean, because, you know, especially I'm an only child. She's all I ever had. So I was always frightened, you know. But I felt I had unconditional love. I felt she loved me. That was her only way.
No, I'm sorry.
No?
Conditional love.
Conditional love.
If you had been resistant, she's very good.
The minute you were autonomous,
if you had resisted, if you were angry, if you wanted to go your own way, she was not good. She was, I mean, at some level she did love you, I'm sure, but the reaction was really very bad. To this day, you are hooked into her mentally. To this day, when you try to get ahead in certain ways, the part of you that says, I can't be bothered, that's the part of your mother who's wiping you know what. That's the part of your mother who's feeding you. That's the part that says, no, you're not allowed to be a separate person. That is the part that slowly and gradually has to be broken. You have to finish that book or climb that mountain or whatever it is you want. You're afraid of the collapse that you had when you were in the High School of Performing Arts. If you get there gradually, you'll make it. You'll do okay.
Gladys, your case is so dramatic. I've never heard of any mother as much as your mother doing things for you. But I caution parents all the time. I see parents anticipating their child's needs and trying to be there with the tissue before the kid sneezes and these things. And I explain to them, you're doing them such a disservice. They will never find a spouse who will take the same care of them. They're destined to a life of unhappiness. Now, you've already been dealt these cards, but what you can do is begin doing what you started to do in Mom after the grieving process, is experiment with autonomy. Give yourself smaller projects, though. Maybe it's not completing the book and getting it published, but maybe it's finishing a chapter. In small steps, give yourself projects that you can finish and feel very, very good about it, and then give yourself some positive reinforcement. Hey, I did this, and I did it by myself. Yes, my mother's loving influence is a part of me, but I did this by myself. And build on those autonomous projects until you can expand it into your everyday life, or you will not find that happiness that you deserve.
I agree. That's very good.
Now, this is a toughie. In relationships with men, one part of you will say, indulge me, bring me the French toast. The other part of you is going to have to say, I'm going to get out of bed. Oh, look at that. And I'm going to do it myself. It's going to feel lousy at first, but what happens is the more indulgence you want and need, even though it feels good, the more you are fulfilling your mother's prophecy. And that's what has to end. Must end.
I want you to give yourself permission to be a 2-year-old in one way, and that is a 2-year-old gets into the stage of saying, I want to do it myself. No, Mommy. So I'm going to do it myself. That's kind of where you are with some of this, Gladys. So give yourself permission to do it yourself. It feels great. It really does. Once you feel that positive reinforcement.
You'll feel lousy at first.
That's true.
But then it will feel great. And I think that will help reinforce it and help you expand it. Thanks so much for sharing your story.
Thanks so much for coming on. Stay right where you are. We'll be back with more of Am I Nuts in just a moment. Stay with us.
How fast can you begin to feel relief from a cold? Depends. How fast can you open the halls with Vapor Action? Halls Vapor Action means instant action, only from the halls of medicine.
I have a lot of spare time on my hands lately. I can thank Burger King for that. Thank you, Burger King. No problem. They've got these kids club meals. A flame broiled hamburger, fries, and a drink, all for $1.99. And every meal comes with a great kids club toy. They keep my kids busy for hours. Room decorating kits, color change cups, cool stuff like that. They've been inside with those toys all day now. I love those toys.
Burger King. Get your burger's worth.
Hi, I'm Joy Mangano, and I invented the Miracle Mop. It's the original cotton self-wringing mop. Therefore, the most absorbent. It will clean that mess again and again and again.
And I'm Jane Rudolph Tracy, host on QVC, where we have sold over 300,000 mops to people all across the country, just like you. In fact, let's hear from some of them. Hi, you're on the air.
I love your mop. It's been a lifesaver. I can get under my cabinets in the corners, and my 10-year-old daughter loves to mop my floor with it.
It really is the Miracle Mop when even the kids want to get in on the cleaning.
Sure. Well, you know, it's 300 feet of continuous loop cotton, and with a simple twist of the handle, you can wring it out as wet or as dry as you like. And in the cotton, unlike synthetics, it won't scratch any surface.
And the self-wringing action means that your hands never get into hot water. Plus, there's no bending over, so it's easier on your lower back.
Oh, sure. You can take it into the bathtub, up the shower stall, behind the commode.
And after all that messy cleaning, this is the only mop of its kind. You're so smart that you can put into the washing machine with bleach. Put it in with your whites, a little bit of bleach, and it comes out germ-free.
I guarantee this is literally the last mop you'll ever have to buy.
I can't say enough about them. They're wonderful. It cuts my time in half, and all my friends have ordered them. I tell everyone about it. This mop is wonderful. I would tell anybody to buy it. You'll throw all your other mops out.
It's lightweight, high-tech. It's not made of wood or metal. It will not rot or rust. It's the quality mop, proudly made in the USA.
And if you call right now, you'll also get a scuff remover for all those black marks on the floor.
Or gum.
She's a mother of 5, she knows. Plus, we'll also include a tube of Simple Green, an environmentally friendly cleaner to keep the whole house sparkling clean. You'll be so happy if you order now the entire package for only $19.95. Why don't you give us a call? Our operators are standing by.
Have your credit card ready and call 1-800-500-7980. The original Miracle Mop is guaranteed to be the last mop you'll ever have to buy. Call 1-800-500-7980. 1-800-500-7980. Call now.
You can make small miracles happen for a child, a family, and a community living in poverty overseas. For more information, call Child Reach, 1-800-826-1110.
Welcome back. We're going right to the phones to say good morning to Mark from Iowa. Hi, Mark.
Good morning.
How can we help?
My wife is in a very similar situation as your guest there.
Really?
She has a very controlling mother. She grew up in a large family, and her mother never let them cook or clean, or
Really?
she just waited on them hand and foot. And in our marriage now, it's creating problems.
How's that?
She doesn't.
Cook
she
or
hasn't
clean.
really learned how to do anything such as cooking
Right.
and cleaning.
Right.
And it's also created a lot of insecurities that I'm not sure how to deal with her.
Now, insecurities in you or in her?
In her.
Does she want to learn these things? Does she say, I would like to, but I just can't?
Yeah, she's afraid to. And nothing is more important to her in the world than her mother's approval. I mean, if she can't get her mother's approval on anything she does, it's like devastating to her.
Okay, Mark. Your wife really needs to reinforce her own sense of self and her own self-esteem. She needs to read a book called Every Woman's Worth by Marianne Williamson. Would be very, very effective for her. She needs to attend a workshop if she can on building self-esteem. She can take a class and learn how to cook. She can take a class and learn how to clean. And she needs to be reinforced. Every little thing she does, if she pours Cheerios and puts the milk on right, she needs to be reinforced so that she begins to feel very, very good about those homemaking skills. Her mother was so insecure herself that she didn't feel like she was anything unless she was doing this mothering thing. She probably will be a basket case when the last kid's out of the house. So your wife really had this laid out for her.
Mark, there's another issue. Your wife has an internal critic now. It's not just her mother. So one of the reasons your wife is afraid to take on some of these chores is because she's going to look at the food she's prepared, and she's going to look at the way the house is run, and she is going to be critical. In addition, when you have the mother coming over and the mother winds up looking in and doing anything with the white glove treatment, she's still going to feel intimidated. So she's intimidated by her mother and herself. You have to help her in certain ways. When mom is going to come over, try to get the house in reasonably good shape. Number two, you have to help her with that internal critic, either by being positively reinforcing, working with her in the initial stages of cleaning, cooking, doing some housework.
Great.
You're a member of the family too, so you certainly could do some of this. So in effect, try your best with her, but the internal critic that she has is the biggest danger to the marriage. Good luck. It's not an easy situation.
Mark, so I love Bernie's suggestion of doing it together and loving her through it. That should work well for you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Bernie. Well, join us tomorrow because we're going to discuss anger and how it can damage you and everyone you come in contact with. Until then, make it a great day.
Thanks for joining us today. Have a great day, and remember, make today work for you.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye
Bye-bye.
now.
Don't be a greedy pig, Devin. I'm offering you $50,000 and not a penny more.
Oh, Angelica, you always did have such a sense of humor.
I'm not being funny. That's all we can afford to pay you.
Oh, my, then we do have a problem then, don't we?
Will you pay the lady, please?